Hello, everybody. My name is Rafat, and I am a psychotherapist. I work at Positive Perspective. I primarily do individual therapy and group counseling. You might have seen me in a lot of other videos of Little More Closer as the interviewer. And today we have here with us a team that works behind the scenes. So all the content that goes on our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, basically all sorts of social media platforms is created by these awesome people sitting here with me today. Can we just have a round of introductions, guys? Just your name and what you do.
Okay, my name is Aarti.
Whoever wants to start.
I'll go. My name is Aarti. I am the founder at Pause for Perspective, and I am sous chef with Nida for all the content that goes on our social media platforms.
Thank you.
I'm Nida. I'm a counseling psychologist at PFP and also the chef, apparently, also known as the social media lead. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Estelle, and I'm a psychotherapist at Foster Perspective. I contribute with the mental health awareness team. I make mindfulness-based symptom management posters. Um, I also contribute with the mindfulness posts, and I handle the LinkedIn page.
Thank you, Estelle.
Hi, I'm Varsha. I'm a psychotherapist too at Foster Perspective, and I see individual clients and also see couples as well. And I do podcasts in Hyderabadi and also sometimes in Telugu, which go on Spotify and SoundCloud. And also I work on the posters a couple of times in the week, like the Thursday expectation versus reality thing and the Monday posters is what I work on for the social media.
Thanks, Marsha.
Hi, I'm Lalita Pooja. I'm a counseling psychologist at POS. I also am the co-lead for MHA, Mental Health Awareness, Internship, Fellowship, and in our Prasan also so Prasan is the name, the insider name that we have for our social media team. And I do the mindfulness posts as well along with Estelle, and started doing the Little More Closer with Rafat, and hoping for many more to come. Yeah.
Thanks, LP.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Insha, and I am a recent addition to this beautiful team. I write the content on the blogs of blog website for Pause for Perspective. That's how I do.
Thank you, Insha.
Hi, I'm Srivalli. I'm a fellow at Pause for Perspective. I recently started with LinkedIn, and I generally just share the content that the Prasan team does on social media.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. So we are all gathered here, and you must be wondering why such a big gathering today. I decided that, or we decided that, we should have a representation of all the people who work as content creators for our pages. So that's why we have all of us. And I'm going to ask a couple of questions which anyone can answer. So my first question, guys, is, and the intention of today's conversation is to just open up how social media and mental health intersect. And as mental health professionals and also content creators on Instagram, we are here and going to talk about our experiences. So the first question to all of you guys is, as social media team handling PFP's account, what has your experience been like? What do you love about it and what do you hate about it?
I think I'll go first. I think one of the biggest visions for having the team within Pause speak for Pause. Typically social media is handled by like an outside agency or like one person within the organization or some such thing. But I think one of the goals of bringing together the team that works within POS to represent POS is to allow for our voices to show up, and our voices um, include voices of wanting to represent ourselves as, social justice informed, mindfulness based, narrative based therapists who are constantly looking at what mainstream psychology is showing and bringing as training and as practice in the field, and really looking at it and seeing if that works for us, what works for us, and to be able to present that into the world in a way that may resonate for other people as well. So I think that's the biggest most important goals of the team itself. Yeah.
I kind of remember the first conversation we had, ma'am. Like none of us over here, I would want the audience to know, are digital marketers or, anyone from the marketing industry. We're all just basic psychotherapists who use Instagram for our, recreation. And somehow we just came together as a team. And as ma'am was saying, that it's just, it's all coming from heart, like the work we do. It's not, uh, you know, it's not created with an agenda of spreading or marketing or anything. It's just the work that we do and the voice that we have and we use. So completely agreeing with what ma'am said.
Yeah.
Our first name of the team was PFP Voice Take Backers.
Yeah.
Like we wanted to take back our voice and put it out there. Remember that conversation, right? And how when we started, the name of the team is Prasann Love. Shout out to Shweta and Pooja Gupta. We miss you. And how we came together as there's just this closely knit bond and shared values that we have, and how we put it out there, and how we always try to change the voice and face of mental health and show people who PFP is and who we are also individually, right? Somewhere the individual and the community intersect while we are showing ourselves on social media.
Yeah, I agree. Others, how has your experience been like? Anyone wants to share?
I think through our posts and through all the conversations that we try to have, what we constantly want is awareness and deconstruction that we constantly do in all the posts and in all the videos or anything and everything that we put out. And I think what we want is more stories, more conversations, more people to get involved and make other stories more visible. That's the best part of the whole social media work that we do.
Yes.
Yeah, also agreeing to what everybody was saying, that our intention was to spread awareness about mental health or therapy as such, and also the podcast that we've recently started doing, so that mental health is accessible to everyone. We do it in Hyderabadi and the Telugu thing, so that we are able to do what we want to do, and people can access it in different languages. We normalize mental health and we normalize going to therapy, and we bring out, like Lalita Pooja was saying, stories and lived experiences of people and how mental health is different for different people. So yeah, it's been a great experience.
Yeah, it's deconstruction, it's inclusivity, it's all those things that we do represent us more than anything else.
I think one of the challenges, I'm sorry, do you want to go?
I was just saying, like how Rafat said, we put our heart into it. So I think this is PFP's heart that we are putting out there.
Totally. I think one of the challenges has been that, we are a startup as well. We are a young group as well. And we're looking squarely at mainstream psychology that offers a very westernized version of what care looks like, of what mental health care looks like. And so we're sort of sitting with these ideas, sitting with these experiences, or sometimes even lack of experiences, and wanting to amplify a certain voice. So in that, we're also learning, but also we are also constantly stumbling. So we have a lot of comments on our posts that challenge us as well. And I think while that feels like we don't know our shit, it's also like it's welcoming of a community that can teach us as well. So I think in that way, our voice is a very genuine representation of where we are at as human beings, as people, as mental health practitioners. That we're sort of learning as we go. We want to be able to serve a community in a way that sustains us, and so we're having to constantly look at and challenge small things like what is the scale of what is the sliding scale for the fee look like? How do we represent that on our posters? How do we want to talk about what therapy looks like? And how do we want to say, like the posters that Varsha does on, can therapists be friends with their clients, or the posts around what is the therapist an expert? So, we're having to constantly also address our own struggles with these ideas, because we live in a context that where we want to work with and ally with people that we work with, and not act like we are some sort of removed experts that are sort of bringing in like a westernized psychologized version of mental health that does not work for the community itself. So we're constantly having to challenge some of these ideas, and that's kind of like both the pain, the blind spots that we hit at, but also the biggest learnings for all of us together. So that's been my challenges in being in this space on social media with Pause. Yeah.
I agree. And we grew with weeks, with months, and we changed. We learned so much through this.
Yeah.
Also, I agree with what you said about how there's this westernized idea of psychology, of mental health, of therapy, and how we try to bring in and add in our voices through our posts. And that's, I think, the best part about our page. At least I'm just gonna be happy about our page and praise it. So yeah. Anyone else wants to share about their experience?
I couldn't agree.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go, Estelle.
Estelle can go, and then Nida can.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Rafat, because this is the first time I've ever been part of a social media team and working so closely. Just more than the work we do, just more than only seeing clients, being able to contribute, putting content together, and then putting it out on LinkedIn, for example, the PFP handle that I contribute with. It's been a very enriching experience to be able to share what we're doing, and also to reach communities, to reach other places, and let them know the work we do. Like, even professionally, let everyone else know what we're doing. Yeah, so that way it makes me feel like, even though it's all of us putting it out together, makes me feel like this is what I am doing, like shows how invested I am with all of us, all of you as a team.
Yeah, I think all of us have our individual voices. Like our Sunday post about therapist corner, and those little glimpses of our lives are also so personal and intimate. And we put it out there, and it's I agree with Estelle. Yes, Nida, you were saying. Okay, Srivali can go, and then.
Yeah, when you people speak of you putting in heart into it and engagement with the community, and I'm someone who's new to the team, but I've been a follower of this page, and that's something that the community and the heart really stands out to me, because whenever, as a mental health page, whenever I reached out, I had replied to it, and that really shows the engagement and the heart you people really put into it, and the active involvement that you people want to convey to the people who are following.
Yeah. And ma'am, initially, do you remember we had the struggle of we'll follow a color scheme or we'll have a similar
Oh
poster,
my
but then
God.
we were like, let's just make whatever we may.
Remember
I mean, we
the
don't,
whiteboard?
I think that way, yeah, and that way we challenge that perfectionism and the idea of, having
Yeah.
this, I really like that we go in with what, we want to do. We don't have this one format scheme of colors and it's just whatever comes up as.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much variety,
Yeah.
that it's just, yeah. And the best part that I was going to talk about are our conversations. Like every meeting that we have and the conversations that go behind the posters, they just reiterate
Yeah.
that we keep learning, we keep looking at what are we doing with our intention of mental health, what are we challenging, what do we know, what do we don't know, and all of those things. Yeah.
Although I am a very recent
Yeah.
addition to this team,
Just, yeah.
I'm sorry, what? Yeah,
Yes, Ansha, you can go ahead.
yeah, no. Since I have been a recent addition to this team, I have learned so much. I mean, uh, I've realized that being part of this team, having conversations with you all, and seeing the world, seeing the therapist world, the mental health world from your perspective, has been an eye-opening experience. I mean, I've never actually seen things this way. I used to. Um, I never experienced anything like this before, and I just love it. I mean, being part of this team is the best thing that has happened to me so far. I would say it's like the best experience you can get.
It's small things, no? I'm sure, Insha, in the last 2 weeks that you've been part of us, it's been grueling for you as well, because I'm finding these ways of writing something, right? Like with the current sort of caste-based violence, just looking at how you write a sentence, and how that can make all the impact, right? Like when you write about the victim and what happened to the victim versus what the perpetrator did, just the conversation entirely sort of changes, and we're sort of learning to focus on the person that needs to be focused on versus the perpetrator that needs to be focused on versus sort of the women or the victim or the marginalized folk, right? Like what is the context doing to the people and the lives of people? I think that's the biggest sort of representation of how we are trying at Pause to constantly look at the lives of people that we see, that we're looking at how is the context leading to this experience of marginalization, erasure, mental health struggles that a person is having. That's the work that we're doing as therapists, and that's our hope with the language that we're putting out is also that. And I mean, we're not going to be perfect. I mean, I think our privileges sometimes make us not see some things in a way that can sort of that can help subvert what we're trying with what we're trying. But I mean, I think that's the effort. I mean, the effort with the language that goes in is to ensure that we're not again erasing um, people's experiences and our own experiences. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Since everyone has answered the first question, I'm going to quickly move to the next one because we don't have that kind of time. So, coming to mental health and mental health awareness, what do you think is the role of social media and how has this team been fulfilling that role? What's your take on that? Because there are other pages on Instagram which talk about mental health. Yeah, so just how has it been?
Like ma'am spoke about representation. I think
Yeah.
what we aim to do as a social media team is how we represent mental health out there, right? And then like we talk about the context, we talk about identity, we talk about so many intersectionalities of mental health and not just mainstream psychology. Sometimes with our posters, we also talk about mainstream therapy and psychology, but we make sure we also talk about the other things that are there. Like we constantly try to deconstruct and represent mental health in a different way, right? And I think that's the most important part about social media, just media representation, right? Like breaking these ideas that, like how we talk about how systems are there and then media upholds these systems, right? And then challenging this idea and representing this in a certain, in another way is breaking that, right? We are not upholding the systems, and then we are doing some kind of social justice, I hope, by that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, more lately, I've been having conversations just with the people that I consult, that consult with me about like the current state of the world, of the current state of India, you know, and how being on social media is just completely eroding their sense of self. That people are unable to sort of live with the kind of privileges they have because trying to impact the spaces within their privileges is becoming more and more impossible, but also that they can't not do this work. So then what do we do? And that just, there's so much on social media about what is happening. This is very triggering to the traumas that people experience. And also there is really, other than anger, I'm not sure what is out there, is the feeling that most people have. So then it leads to people shutting down and not doing anything, which is again completely it feels like we're colluding with the people in power. So then what do we do? I think this is something that I've been talking to the people that consult with me, and you know, I think very similar to what Nida was saying, I feel like for me it's become important to look at, so this is out there, you know, shit is out there, inequality is out there, just the inability, like casteism, racism, all sorts of like patriarchy, all of this is out there. But it's become very important, and as mental health professionals, I think that's the training we all have. How can we start sort of weeding out systemically these painful experiences that are present in the world? I think that's where our focus ends up being, and I think that's the thing, that's the work we're doing with the social media as well. Like, can I just look at you know, in my everyday life, how can I have a conversation with my child in a way that can help healing in that level, in that minute? You know, how can I talk with the person that I'm consulting with in a way that allows us to see the way in which they are resisting systemic oppression, right? And how can I capture that in the work that we're doing, right, on social media? So these things have become even more important today than any other time in our lives. So I think, yeah, I guess that's the hope with what we're doing on social media as well. Yeah.
As we talk about it, I'm realizing how much like we put out things there for awareness, but then the kind of impact that has, and then to bring in safety and compassion in that work while we bring awareness, and it's so hard, yet it's so important too. Yeah, and as you were talking, that was what was going on in my head, that how we have to always cushion it with safety and like little things, like how you hold these conversations with people around us, with our children, with people whom we consult.
You know,
LP wants to say something.
LP, go.
No, I was just saying that how our posts are not limited to a particular population also, that one of our intention is to reach the maximum number of people and calling out the power that exists in relationships, the power a person holds, the privilege a person holds. And I think one of the reasons why there's so many language podcasts that are coming up, or podcasts coming up in different languages, is with that intention that we don't want to restrict it to a certain population. And then the Little More Closer series as well, where you're doing different places where a person is located, right? On parents, on children, on maybe on teenagers. All of this was coming out with an intention that mental health is not restricted to a particular population or people specifically in some intersectionality, but it's for all. I think normalizing mental health, opening it up for everybody is one of the biggest intentions as well that we hold.
You know, as Rafat was talking about safety and compassion, it reminded me of our conversations about will this be too sharp to put it out there, right? And how we still look out for uh, who's going to read this
Yeah.
post, who's going to consume it, right? And we are very careful, we are very mindful about that when we put it out there. Yeah. And I think like with all of that has been happening, right? Like social media has been about putting content out there. And we don't look at the content, we look at what is our intention with this? Why are we putting this out there? And how do we ensure safety and compassion while we are putting this out there? And how do we also bring this element of social justice? What systems are we breaking? What systems are we questioning and challenging when we are putting this out there?
Yeah. Anyone else wants to share anything that's standing out or they're reminded of? Okay, I'm gonna move to the next question, guys. I think we kind of answered this in this one, but I'm anyway gonna ask. So, what is the flip side of awareness? But like we had this conversation just now, but again, like kind of reiterating, yes, we do put out posters and content that with an intention of awareness, but then there might be a flip side of this awareness as well as flip side of social media as an entity in itself. And how does it intersect with the mental health of the people you see, of basically everyone? What are your thoughts on that as mental health professionals? And also, what would you recommend? With having said that, what would you recommend?
I would just like, I'm just thinking about my experience as a person who consumes social media, right? And who follows a lot of mental health accounts and psychologists. Sometimes it can be very, it can be too much.
Yeah.
Like so much of, this is what your experience might mean, or this is what anxiety looks like, this is what depression looks like, right? And then it becomes so much for me to handle. Like sometimes we start self-diagnosing, or we feel like, oh yeah, this could be my experience, right? And then the anxiety that we experience just consuming this kind of information, right? That could become a challenge with social media.
I agree. I think too much of self-reflection is also like too much.
Yeah.
And adding on to that is the content that we consume as well. I mean, reading so much about what's happening around the world, sometimes it makes me feel so hopeless that is there some change that's really going to happen in this world? And that takes you back, and it just gets harder there. And that's when you look for safety. And I feel like coming back to our pages and reading something from our pages helps me to come back to safety.
Yeah, it can definitely get really hopeless.
Varsha was going to say something.
No, I just lost track of my thoughts and because I was going into this spiral of like, yeah, this is too much, this is very overwhelming. Like even I find myself like there's so much content out there, so much information about so many things. And like how Nida and LP were saying, the pages that we follow and the content that is there. And it just like social media, I feel like sometimes social media does take so much of our time, and that feels so overwhelming. And I find myself sometimes like going back into this holes and spaces where like, okay, I don't want this in my life right now. And like I'll back off from it. And that's the danger. Or the flip side with social media sometimes, that yes, there is awareness that does help you a lot, but also like the danger with it that we reflect or we self-diagnose a lot, and it's just like sometimes overwhelming with a lot of content. And I was just thinking what the other question that you asked, Rafat, of what do you recommend? And it's so difficult to answer that question because it's different for different people, and I need time to think about it.
Yeah, so I think
If anybody,
that was a lot. I mean, yes, I agree with what you said, Varsha. And as you were talking, I was just thinking about my experiences as a person who consumes social media. And I think, I mean, we talk so much about mindfulness as an institute that, works primarily with mindfulness. But I think my escape is mindlessly scrolling on Instagram. And that's just like
Yeah.
contradicting, right? So uh, sometimes that mindless scrolling can not be helpful. Sometimes it can be, and I don't know. I'm again, as you said, I'm lost in thought. I am not choosing any sides here, but yeah. Um,
I was just going to talk about that, Rafat, and when LP was talking about how we think. I mean, Varsha was saying, sorry, this is too much. I need a little break from this. I think ever since I've done the MBSM program, I've been able to say no, know how much to consume, and how much, where there has to be a stop, or take little breaks and come back, right? Using anchors as a way of bringing yourself back, or when you move away, and when it's too much for you, like how you should mindfully consume what is out there, like just keeping mindfulness in mind, right? Yeah.
I think as therapists and also as people who constantly engage in these conversations, we are aware that, I am mindlessly scrolling today and I would want to like be mindful instead. And I think a lot of our posts also are curated. Like we do like have some posts which say that, about the Skillfully Yours series that specifically talks about these habits, right? So
And just doing, contributing with those series, Lalit Pooja and I think it's helped us grow in a way that we use it, so much in our day-to-day lives, and understand and are able to discern the flip side of, okay, what this is doing for me and is it helping?
I think I remember, once I was telling, I think in one of our meetings that I don't have Instagram on my phone, and Varsha said, "Oh yeah, I don't have it. I use my mom's to post." Because I think, and that's one of the ways to care. I think because of the overwhelm that we might experience, sheer content overload, right? Just so much content overload out there that it might become important to kind of sort of look at what, like you guys were mentioning, respectful limits, right? Like what does that look like, and how much do I want to consume, and do I want to consume shit right now? Am I okay with it? Do I want to consume? Do I not want to consume at all? Am I okay with it? I think just bringing that kind of self to what we're doing can help. I think for me, what helps is like that stepping back from like just deleting Instagram for a little bit and just using it on my laptop can help. On the other hand, for me, social media is not the only way in which we're doing this work, right? I believe truly for all of us that as mental health practitioners, we're constantly on an everyday basis, aligning with people who want to who are already resisting oppression, and I want to be able to shine forth with them into these spaces of just magic, so I feel like being able to do that work on an everyday basis is important. Did he have pants on? Yeah, okay. I didn't see him. Just being able to do that work on an everyday basis, like to look at, okay, what is important in my life, and am I able to do that on an everyday basis, or as often as I can, besides scrolling on social media and posting on social media, I think it becomes very important for me.
This reminds me of how we were like, okay, let's just do something about humor. And then we started posting memes. And then we were like, Monday Blues ke liye we'll post memes, right? And that is one way I think that has helped me. with a lot of, when there's a lot that I'm consuming from social media, I decide like my consumption will be streamlined and I'll only look at humor now. Right. And then that becomes a way I care for myself with the challenges of social media, I think. Rafat has stopped. That video has frozen.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Does anybody else want to add to this conversation? I hope she comes back because I don't have the questions. I think this was the last question and we can wrap up actually. Any last words, any last thoughts before we wrap up today?
I'm feeling a lot of love for this.
I was just about to say that this conversation,
yeah,
it's so validating and very enriching. That
yeah, it's a good conversation to come back to too when we have Monday blues and we have a meeting and we have to get here and thank you so much for being the voice of cause on social media. Rafat, I just took over because I didn't know the next question. We're wrapping up. Just wanted to know if anybody had last words to say. So we close, and Varsha and Nida spoke about feeling love and warmth. Estelle said warmth. And I said gratitude.
I said,
Go on. Go on, it's okay.
I think it's just family. I truly believe this is my family. And Yes, LP, you had.
I think for me, the word that came up was compassion. I think what we do is spread compassion for self, compassion for others. And I think that's what the work we do is also filled with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. I think I would just want to like add an ending line here that if from the beginning when we started having these meetings, we were just so amazed by our conversations, like we would be like mind blown and we would say that, oh, I wish we could like record this. It would be such a nice conversation. And I think today is that fortunate today that we could do it. This is a short glimpse, guys, of how our conversations look like and what goes on behind the scenes of our Instagram page. Anything else that you want to add? Anyone? And then we can, I think we're wrapping up, right? My electricity went, so it came back, and that's why I think I missed a little bit. But
wrapping up. Yeah.
Sorry.
All righty. Thank you so much, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.